Lost Perspective. Cindy and the Leadership. This is an examination of Cindy's role within the others and their struggles with leadership. My assumptions are: Ajira 3:16 mirrors Oceanic 8:15, just like Oceanic 8:15 mirrors Ajira 3:16. My arguments are: Cindy was an other before 8:15. The others are the good guys. Judgment and self-sacrifice are central values. Leadership on the island is a shared responsibility, a relationship, usually filled with conflict. Alex led to the conflict between Ben and Widmore. She was a tool used by Ben to get Widmore exiled. My evidence includes The Other 48 Days, 2:7, Stranger in a Strange Land, 3:9, Enter 7:7, 3:11, Cabin Fever, 4:11, There's No Place Like Home, 4:14, and Dead is Dead, 5:12. I believe that just like Alana, Cindy was planted on the plane by Jacob. She was devoted before getting to the island. Jacob knew there were going to be children on board 8:15 and wanted to protect them. Her job was a caregiver for the new children, Zach and Emma, on the island. Once Echo and Anna save their lives, Cindy guides them through the rest of the turmoil that is the series. The others get the children to the temple as soon as possible, and the children later appear healthy and well. Once the tailies are about to join our original Losties, Cindy finds the perfect time to slip away to rejoin the others. In Season 6, during the substitute, she escapes from Man in Black with the children, disappearing into the jungle. The others are the good guys. Certain cultural practices are obviously adopted by the others over time, depending on the current leadership. For the most part, these are defensive and reactive, yet all aimed at maintaining benevolence within themselves and balance on the island. Militancy. When met with outside forces such as the U.S. Army or the Dharma Initiative, the others tend to react with equal force. The Army attacks, they get wiped out. The Dharma Initiative almost destroys the light, then they get wiped out. They are allowed to live on the island for years after their initial arrival. The others aren't hostile unless you make them that way. Child raising. During the conversation that Sawyer has with Carl, Carl says that the others try to give the children a better life than what is possible elsewhere. When Ben finally apologizes to Alex for brainwashing Carl using Room 23, he admits he was trying to protect Alex and their potential child. Ben enlists the help of Juliet as an effort to cure the pregnancy issues on the island so that Ben and the rest can have children normally. Justice. Juliet killed one of her own people. She did it to protect someone else from Pickett's poor emotional decision. Since none of the others saw what happened, a trial had to be held. Ben removes the obvious punishment for murder, which is execution, and so the trial instead ends with Juliet's chance at leadership forever denied. The others from the temple came to witness the trial so that they can learn from Juliet and their judgment. This mirrors the appearance of the Whispers when significant events happen. They witness and judge in their own way. They might be trying to learn so they can pass on themselves. Funeral rites. Dogan is very defensive when Saeed is revived and wants to kill him again. Dogan must have some knowledge of the smoke monster's ability to take over dead bodies. They are in general very careful about what they do with their dead bodies. During Season 5's Le Fleur, not only do they demand their men back, they also want the body of the Dharma member. Perhaps the temple's healing pool was more effective than we ever saw. Also during Season 3, Connie is burned at sea. They must be controlling their dead so that the smoke monster can't use and manipulate them like he does the Losties and D.I. Enlistment. Goodwin had infiltrated the tailies from Ben's group. He was there to judge the new arrivals and point out the keepers to the others. Ana Lucia never made it on the list, but Goodwin wanted to get to know her better. He believed she had a good heart. Before her child's death, that was probably true. Self-sacrifice. During Enter 7-7, we encounter Miss Clue and Mikhail. They are in turn captured and held at gunpoint. In a measured attempt to protect the others, Miss Clue tells Mikhail to kill her and then himself. We know that Mikhail later admits to being devoted to the island and must assume that Miss Clue was as well. Widmore in 1955 has the same sort of fatalistic mentality when Locke turns the tables on him. Jacob also appears to sacrifice himself to Ben in the incident, just by letting Ben stab him. Shared leadership, a relationship. Control over the others is never held by just one person. Jacob watches everyone, Richard switches to advisor once he finds a leader, and Dogen protects the temple. As Ben realizes in Cabin Fever, being chosen as leader can be very temporary. Destiny is a fickle bitch. We start with Richard in the 50s, guiding a fairly young force. Then Eloise and Widmore both take leadership. Eloise ends up leaving forever to have Daniel off island, seemingly willed to her fate. Widmore leaves the island, which is apparently against the rules, has his own child, also against the rules, but is still able to command the others. After the purge, Ben manipulates Widmore into exile using baby Alex. Widmore is correct in his assumptions about Alex's fate because of his first-hand knowledge of Daniel, but public opinion shifts and he is still exiled. The conflict between these two drives the larger plot for much of the series. These very similar struggles continue for Ben as Locke makes his appearance, struggles against, and eventually succeeds him. John Locke being leader was essential for getting Richard to reveal where Jacob was. This was the loophole. Only the leader can be introduced to Jacob. Richard had been motivated by Jack's earlier conversations to stick with and believe in Locke. This allows Man in Black to pull Ben along for the visit and sidesteps the other set of rules imposed by his false mother, the fact that he can't kill Jacob. After Jacob is successfully killed and the others converted, Widmore returns, finds there is a power vacuum, and he is able to stand against Man in Black, if only for a short time. Widmore's drinking after Alex's death had been brought on by dreams, sent by Jacob most likely, urging him to drop his conflict with Ben and telling him how to get back to the island. These negative conflicts and positive relationships define the leadership on the island, between both those with actual powers like Man in Black and Jacob, and those simply seeking power like Ben and Widmore. My conclusions are: Cindy will protect Zach and Emma until they are ready to become the next leaders of the others. The others were groomed to value judgment and self-sacrifice for the benefit of the island. Widmore and Ben were both working for the protection of the island the entire time. Alex was used by Ben to overthrow Widmore, unlike in The Flash Sideways.